gracefully.
We have got Richard Kurtz with us today. He joins us live, and he is very fashionable today in his hat. What university is that hat that you've got?
I'm losing it.
Are you losing it or the hat? What? What happened? Who got shot? Who shot JR?
Are you there? I can't hear you.
I've got you. What's up? Can you hear me? I've got you, my friend.
Yeah, a little bit. I might have this thing double broadcasting. Let me see what I got here.
Let's do this. I will hang up with
that
Rich, and
better?
I will just hang up with Rich and call him back. We'll just do it that way. Boom. We'll just call him back. Call him back on the horn. On the horn. On the new horn, as they say. On the new horn. It's not the new horn. It's just the horn. And then it wouldn't let me do that, so I gotta call him back. There we are. Okay, can you hear me now?
I sure can.
Perfect. We are, as they say, in business. So, what is the hat that you're wearing? Is that some university from somewhere?
No, it's a hat from Izod, from their outlet I got about 10 years ago up near Lake Arrowhead, and it's my mentally gone fishing hat.
Well, it seems that the Democrats have gone fishing. They went out and they got their girl.
It astounds me that no matter what they catch, it always smells like it's been on the dock for 3 days.
Yes. You might be able to say those things. Trump cannot say those things, because then people will be like, he's attacking a woman.
No, he's probably attacking fish.
Well, that too. So what do you make of this pick? Like anybody thought he was going to pick Elizabeth Warren, except Elizabeth Warren thought he was picking Elizabeth Warren, but everybody else knew he wasn't.
Dizzy Lizzie still thinks she's going to get picked. She hasn't figured that out yet.
She sold herself out for this, because she just been determined she was going to get to be the pick, and no dice.
Well, maybe she needs to drink more beer. What can I tell you? I thought that little ditty of her on TV saying, "I think I'm going to have a beer." She had that same look on her face when I was in about sixth grade, and I grabbed a terrible Rheingold beer out of the fridge when my parents weren't home to try drinking beer.
Yes.
And I realized just how terrible that would taste. And that was the look on her face when she was doing that. The only other look that was better was when she asked her husband if she wanted one as he was walking by. And he looked at her as if to say, "Not only do I not want a beer, dear, I don't think I want you either." And nobody else apparently does.
So, besides all this, what do you have for us today, my friend?
Okay. We're dealing with this upcoming exercise of democracy.
Yes.
And I think what we need to understand is two interesting quotes. Actually, it's one quote. George Bernard Shaw made it in I guess in the early 1900s. I couldn't get an exact date, but he was pretty active in the early 1900s, early to late. Well, not late, because he passed away in, I think, 1945 or 50.
Yes.
But it's democracy is a device that ensures we shall be governed no better than we deserve. I like his quote, but it's not original. It was originally by Joseph de Maistre in 1753. He was a writer and philosopher, and he said that something to the effect that the electorate always gets the government it deserves, and in a way it does, because when you vote and you're not attentive to what you're voting for, or you are attentive to what you're voting for, hopefully you'll get it right. But if you're not attentive and you're not happy, well, surprise, you got what you deserve. But the thing is we keep talking about, oh, we have this democracy, we have a democracy. We don't have a democracy. We operate and select our elected officials by a democratic process. Everybody is allowed to vote, but we have a republic because that process involves choosing people who will run the government. I mean, the government runs bad enough. Can you imagine if every time we had to decide on building a road or raising a salary or doing almost anything, we had to have everybody get together and vote on it?
Yes.
Yes, the country would come to even more of a screaming halt than it's at right now. But hence we have the concept of our inalienable or unalienable rights, which we can decide the difference on.
We have got Richard Kurtz with us today. He joins us live. StrategiesPR.com is the official website. And so what do you make of this idea that Trump may not accept the decision if he doesn't win?
That's right up there with the idea that he won't leave the White House if he's not elected,
yes.
or that he's a Russian spy, or that his wife is ugly and stupid and she's just faking it, or that Michelle Obama should be president. All of those things are really, really interesting. No, they're not. They're amazingly inane ideas that people float, and most of the people who float these things are doing it because they're too lazy to ferret out interesting and factual news, perhaps like the multiple felonies of Ilhan Omar or something like that. But and there are multiple. I mean, maybe where she comes from, it's okay to marry your brother for election fraud, but they sort of frown on it here. But maybe they don't frown on it when they elected him. What do I know? I never, frankly, never would have considered marrying my brother to get into a political office, but that's just me.
Richard Kurtz with us today. He joins us live. Now, Richard, there are some other things going on, especially with these looters and all this craziness that's happening. It seems that law enforcement unions have too much power and act as an obstacle to some of the police reforms. What do you make of some of these law enforcement unions?
Well, unions were a necessity when they came into power because industry was extremely oppressive. That was long before the development of labor relations boards and access to the courts and better educated people who were employees and workers. Unions today, it's if they don't have a problem, they have to make one. So because otherwise they can't justify getting the millions of dollars to the union hierarchy that gets paid to do nothing more than to expand and continue collecting union dues. That's their job.
Yes.
A union, if you're going to write a sentence and it's going to say a union is, the next word you better use is business, because it is a business and it is in the business of making money.
Yes.
So if you don't make your customers or your constituents or your dues-paying members feel that they are getting their nickels worth, they're going to stop writing checks, even if they're legally forced to do so, like they are with teachers' unions and things like that. And that will, of course, affect the money pouring into the top of the coffers. So that when somebody who is a problem on the job gets tagged for being a problem on the job, they go out there and they defend the daylights out of them. Even if if you have a teacher who's a really bad teacher, shy of committing multiple felonies in public, it takes almost $300,000 to fire a teacher in California. To get rid of a bad cop, the first thing you have to do is you have to get everybody to agree that he's a bad cop. And with the idea of the blue line that nobody is perfect, and I don't want to be the next guy who's picked out to be gotten rid of, and all the other malarkey there, the unions tend to overprotect the bad apples. And this particular bad apple that was the center point for this round of bullshit, pardon me, that we're getting from alleged protesters, and anarchists and mobs and looters and rioters and everything else you want to call them. This particular cop was a bad apple. He had 18 complaints against him.
Wow.
Yeah, and he should have been out looking for other work.
Yes.
And instead, the whole part of this story is questionable. There are stories going out around about the person who was murdered, and he was indeed murdered. What his background and interaction was with this cop prior and everything else. All of that at the moment doesn't matter. The two things that matter relative to your question is they have to have capital punishment for this idiot excuse for a cop. Number one.
Yes.
He's got to go. He's got to go all the way. And if it were my call, he'd get a public hanging.
Because
that's appropriate. He was a horrible excuse for a human being. The other thing is,
yes, go, Rich.
The other side of it is the unions have to get behind the cleanup. It's like, you can't. I don't know. I'll go back to a plumbing analogy. If you got a leaky sewer pipe in the house, I don't care how much you got running out and how well you're treating the sewage at the treatment plant, your house is going to stink. And a lot of things. I've got family that have been cops for 30 some odd years. I've got friends that are cops. I've got people I know in various law enforcement agencies, and every one of them will tell you two things. Number one, the public doesn't really understand how tough the job is, which is true. And number two, you can't seem to get rid of the bad apples. And that's a problem. So until you get the unions, unless you make the unions all of a sudden, the union leadership all of a sudden somehow financially responsible for this crap, they're not going to do anything. They're just going to keep doing whatever they need to do to collect money.
Yes.
And that's the horrible part of it. Because they could have a real value. And now they're just part of the problem.
We have got Richard Kurtz with us today. He joins us live here in our program. And so Rich, bring us up to speed on what you're doing with the La Jolla Writers Conference, what you guys are going to be doing over there with this.
We're still gathering together how we're going to be working with people online. I'm a member of the San Diego Writers and Editors Guild, and we've got 140 some odd members, and they've been holding their meetings online. It's become a whole new world of attempting to personally interact with people through the impersonal digital world, and we're going to have to get used to that for a while. But we are going to have to open some things up, and people are just going to have to do their darndest to wear their best grade of face mask when they're out. I just canceled a reservation with my very favorite restaurant. That's right on the bay in San Diego. I probably sent you a picture of the view from there. And
Yes.
I canceled it. I've been looking to have a dinner there since my anniversary in June, and I canceled it again because I am just plain concerned about the added interaction of other people cooking and whether or not the glassware is clean, and who did this and who did that. And that shouldn't be a concern. I've been going to this restaurant for years. That should not be concerned.
Yes.
Because in the past, the worst case scenario is you'd come home with a little virus, and if it's a really bad restaurant, you come home with food poisoning, which has never been the case here in this place. Now you come home and you're dead. That's a big difference.
It is a big difference. It is a big difference.
So I said to my friend, who wanted to go out to dinner with us, and I said, just pick your favorite hot dog or hamburger and come on over and let's barbecue at my house and sit at my 10-foot table, you guys at one end and me at the other, and we'll just go to the coastal restaurant another time.
That's awesome.
We've got to do this. We've got to wait out and beat out this horrible little Chinese disease.
Yes, you are completely correct about that, my friend. Well, Rich, I appreciate you making time for us. Thanks for coming on the program, my friend, and I will hopefully talk to you next week.
Good to see and hear you. Have a safe weekend.
Definitely. Thank you, brother. There he goes, Richard Kurtz from Strategies PR and the La Jolla Writers Conference.